Welcome to the Squared Circle Gridiron. I am Don Wade here with Ron and Ricky. Guys, how we doing today?
What's up,
Doing
Bulldog
good.
Don? Ram Ron?
Doing good.
Not-
How y'all doing?
I'm sore as a damn board, man. I was working out in the gym and went to sit down doing some back today. Missed my bench. I was so tired. Literally missed T plunged on my garage floor. So I've been laying on a heat pad for the past hour looking like an idiot. My wife was real nice, so she said, "Don't do that dumb shit again." Thanks, honey.
Yeah.
Listen to the wives.
No kidding. Go
Why
talk a little
wasn't
bit of
she out-
college. What's that?
Why wasn't she out there helping you?
Dude, she's not spotting me on that. She's already told me. If I get hurt, that's my own stupidity. It's like, I'm not spotting you. That's on you.
That's real love, man.
Hey, she does the cooking. I do the weightlifting. I don't care. Got us some football to cover this week. We had some, figure we start off with college. We had some wild games this week. I thought we might start off with our new favorite team, Colorado. Did you guys happen to catch any of that? I know, Ron, you get busy on the weekends. Did you catch the highlights? You catch anything on it?
Oh no, that's a perfectly timed game because it comes out at 9:00 my time.
Okay.
So, oh yeah, no, I'm into Colorado.
What did you think of them? Overall,
that?
what'd you think? What'd you think of them?
They played a little sloppy the first half. In the second half, they seemed to clean it up, and then they just opened it up, man. They just opened up that can. Just let it rip, man. I saw a little clip today or yesterday, Deion Sanders on Pat McAfee show and how he talks to his son. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing how he said he starts at the goal line and walks up to the 4-yard line as a dad. Then comes back.
Yeah, I saw that.
And the
Go
one
ahead.
part I took out of it was he tells him, slide or get out of bounds. Do not get hit. We need you.
Ricky, what'd you think of the game, man?
You know what? I don't know how I could doubt Colorado anymore. I mean, they're just like Ron said, they started off a little slow in the first half, but in the second half, they just seemed to take it over. And I mean, Sanders threw for almost 400 yards.
Yeah.
Again, he could just find spots on the field. He could do it with his legs a little bit. There's just something magical about this team, and I think it starts with their coach. I think he's really put in them that confidence, and that you know they almost had this like victim mentality where people put us down. People didn't think we could do this, or people didn't think we could do that, and I'll tell you what, Deion has them playing at a very high level.
Yeah.
So what I noticed in the first half, so I come in from playing golf, wore out, watching the game, having a few beers, and the first thing I noticed in one of the first plays was Nebraska's offensive line had every one of the defensive linemen pancaked in the first quarter. I was watching that real closely. My buddy pointed out to me, he goes, they're just out physicaling them right now. And I'm pretty sure when they went in that locker room, Deion got in them boys' ass, because when they came out in that second half, that was a different football team. They put the pedal down. They beat them badly. Then they talked their shit after the game. Tip your cap, man. Right now, Deion Sanders is building something out of Colorado I never thought I'd see. Thanks, everybody, for joining us right now. I know Larry's here. Guys, appreciate you. So that was my takeaway from that game. I enjoy watching Colorado right now. They're a fascinating team to watch just because of the storyline. And then when you add into it, hey, by the way, this is actually a pretty good football team. So I'll be watching them the rest of the way now to see where they go.
I like Colorado, but I'm not gonna buy the hype until they play like a top-ranked team, like a really good team. Then I'll be more hyped. But
I like them. I don't love them. I like what's happening right now.
That's how I am. I love this story. I think it's a great story. And you know what? I've been hearing people knock Deion and how he's kind of brash and his son. I love it. I think it's great for college football. And you know what? I'm not ready to crown them a top, 6 team yet or 10, whatever. But I'll tell you what, I really like it.
Yeah. Somebody once said to me, it's not bragging if you can back it up. Right now, the boys are backing it up the whole way.
Yes, they are.
Ricky, I know you want to talk about USC. Go ahead, man. Tell me what you thought. You were all excited about that game.
Well, I'll be honest. I mean, I wasn't excited. It was 56-10, and I didn't watch the whole – well, I mean, I didn't watch the whole game, but I'll tell you what. that USC team, and I'm not just talking about Williams, they are a complete team. They can run the ball. Like you mentioned earlier, I think 6 or 7 guys ran the ball, 8 times or, somewhere between 5 and 10 times each. I mean, they can pass the ball. They could actually play defense. Now, they didn't go up against the 80 49ers against Stanford, but I think USC, we are looking at a team who's going to be 11-1 and going to be there at the end of the year. There's no doubt.
Who's their first loss? Who do you think they'll lose to?
Ron, I can't put my finger on it because there's always that one game, that one,
right?
That Washington State, that kind of, game where it's like 52-49 and like.
I know what Ron wants you to say. Ron wants you to say his Utah Utes. That's what he wants to say. That's what he wants to hear. He threw it out there. He's fishing hard, son. He's trolling.
No, I'm a Trojans fan, but Utah has had their number. That's that's the only thing. But if I haven't seen any of the SC games yet, because 2 weeks ago they were on TV and last week I worked. So, but if their defense is better than last year, then they might go undefeated. They might lose. They might lose Washington State. Might lose Oregon. We'll see.
I will not be surprised if Utah beats them. I don't know. Is the game in Utah or is it?
I have no idea.
That one I don't know. We're still early in the season. I haven't started looking that far ahead of the schedule. Right now, I'm just, we're recapping what happened. I'll say this. I saw the final score and the highlights of the Utah Utes. That's ugly football, Ron. I know you're high on them. Thank God they got a defense because that offense, that thing is stuck in neutral, man. That thing's going nowhere.
They need their starting quarterback back. Now, I think he's out another 2 weeks, I think.
I was going to ask you, is out there saying 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think it's 2 more weeks. Yeah, because he's a difference maker.
And you mentioned Oregon. Oregon had their struggles this weekend against Texas Tech. Them Red Raiders had them on ropes for most of that game. They had to fight to the bitter end of that game. I was kind of shocked at that. I didn't think Texas Tech was that good coming in. Maybe Oregon's just highly overrated again. I don't know. I don't know what you guys think.
Texas Tech, Oregon. Is that Lane Kiffin? Who's Lane Kiffin coaching for now?
He's Ole Miss, I believe.
Okay.
Caught me off guard there because he's coached so far, all over the damn country. But no, it's
I was trying to think. I couldn't think who he was coaching for.
I was like, did he get fired at Ole Miss yet? No, not yet. He's still there. Okay. So yeah, I didn't think Texas Tech was that great. The game of the week, of course, was Texas Alabama. And
Absolutely.
This was a game. When we started the season, I said I had my questions at quarterback for 4 of the big SEC schools. And we all know I said Bama, LSU, Tennessee, and Georgia. I got questions at quarterback. Guess what? We're 2 weeks in. I still got questions at all 4 of those quarterback positions this weekend. Because once again, Georgia could not get out of neutral in the first quarter, could not get going against a very down opponent. They looked flat. Alabama's quarterback, all right? Did you guys watch much of the game? Did you watch all the game? How much did you get to see?
Watched all of it.
Same here. The whole
thing.
So
there were moments where he looked okay, but there were moments where he looked like a running quarterback that was playing out of position. I don't know. He threw the ball 27 times. He threw 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. Meanwhile, you look at Ewers. Ewers threw 38 passes, connected 24, was dropping dimes over the top of the secondary, which I didn't realize Alabama's secondary could be had like that until that game went off. Ewers, who had been struggling the first couple of years, he's been in college football. That looked like a coming out party for that guy. Ron, I know you got some numbers on quarterback rankings in college football. What do you got there?
Yeah, as of today, today it's Ewers, Drake May, Caleb Williams, Sanders, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, Riley Leonard, which is confusing to me, Jordan Travis, J.J. McCarthy, and K.J. Jefferson, who is a quarterback for Arkansas.
Is that based on QBR in college?
Quite possibly. I'd
like to know where that list came from.
Yeah, I just stumbled across it on Twitter.
because I'm kind of surprised to see the UNC quarterback that high, to be quite honest, because I know he's thrown a pick, and I don't think Sanders has thrown one yet, to my knowledge. I haven't seen him throw one yet.
They had Caleb Williams at one, but then this week I just saw, or today I saw that it had been switched to Ewers.
So the Alabama game we're talking about, just really shocked at how easily they were going over the top. Bama's going to fight tough. They fought back hard, tooth and nail. But that fourth quarter, man, Texas just ran away from them. They just ran away. 21 points in the fourth quarter. Ewers dropping bombs. Go ahead, Ricky.
I'll tell you one thing. Texas is fast on both sides of the ball. They have athletes. That tight end they have, Sanders, he's a big boy, and he moves. I'll tell you what, he had what do you have there? He had five receptions for 114 yards. It seemed like he had more, but I'll tell you what, Texas is very, very fast. And like you said, Don, Alabama is always going to fight, always going to be there. But one thing that I noticed was that, especially from years past where Alabama always had the, let's say, better talent, faster guys, that wasn't the case in this past game. In my eyes, Texas was faster. They were quicker. And, obviously they were the better team.
It didn't look to me like a typical Nick Saban team. I didn't see the front four getting after the quarterback all game, like really getting off those edges and making it a problem where he had to dance around a lot. He seemed to have a pretty good pocket, especially like we said in that fourth quarter. It doesn't look like your typical Alabama team. I'm not saying they won't clean it up by year's end. Nick Saban is a hell of a coach. And I wanted to talk about something I saw on Twitter a lot from Alabama fans this week. Some of these idiots losing their mind talking about, is it time for Nick Saban to step away from college football? Shut the hell up. You have no idea how lucky you are to have this guy land in your lap and create a dynasty for you. Not a year or two. We're what now, 15 years into this run or something close to that? Like, you've had 15 years of owning national championships. Shut the hell up. Quit your bitching. You come off as a petulant child.
And they didn't commit all the penalties. He didn't commit the penalties. They had a crap load of penalties against them. And then they couldn't protect the quarterback because they were going after the quarterback. That's why he's running like a scared child half the time. But the penalties, if they would play not such a sloppy game, just like if you think about last year, Ewers got hurt. And they were playing them tough last year. Texas was. And
they were.
The backup came in.
Yeah.
But they had a bunch of penalties last year too that kept Texas in the game.
And like you said, I mean, Alabama looked like a young team. They just looked young.
Yeah.
They just, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's craziness. Look, I'm not an Alabama fan per se, but how many championships have they won in 15 years? Five?
I've lost count, honestly.
Five?
I've lost count.
So, I mean, they're in the top four, for the last 15? I mean, come on. I mean,
yeah.
Fire him and bring in who, right?
Yeah. I saw that talk a week. I thought it was nonsense. I want to talk on that. LSU rolled over Grambling. They needed a bounce-back game. They got it. Quarterback looked strong. I know all them Louisiana boys were digging on that. They needed that after that Florida State game, so good for them. The other point I want to talk about was somebody want to wake the SEC up and tell them we're playing football, because the ACC is kicking their ass. Miami beat up on Texas A&M, beat them up bad. Right now, if you are the SEC, you've got to be thinking, we might have a problem here, because the ACC is flat out kicking and it's not teams that have been doing it. It's not Clemson. Clemson's down. Right now, Florida State is a powerhouse. North Carolina, I'm not saying that they can beat the power tier conferences, but they look like a contender right now. They look like a pretty solid team. Miami, if Miami's back, I don't know what to say. Watch out, because Miami looked legit this past weekend. What do you think they're on?
Oh, I really enjoyed the Miami game. The quarterback, what's his name? Van Dyke. He looked legit. That team looked legit. They were big and fast. I think what's happening right now is going to be good for college football if Miami and Colorado can be relevant again. I'm just speaking as like a fan from the 80s and late 80s and the 90s and stuff. When
Well,
those
let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. The SEC and the Big Ten, it's come down to those two teams every year.
Yeah.
I mean, those two conferences. And more often than not, it's the two teams in the SEC fighting it out. I mean, that's the way it's been now for the last 5 years, I think.
Yeah.
And, just me.
Yeah, but Miami looked tough. They looked good. They looked just, yeah. It was hard. Like I said, I watched half the game, and then I had to leave for work. I didn't want to leave to go to work because I wanted to watch the whole game.
Ricky, you got some hard times coming up this weekend, buddy.
I figured you were going to bring.
I'm looking ahead now because that's pretty much what happened last week. But Georgia, you playing between the hedges, man. You're playing between the hedges right now.
Well, Georgia is favored by Vegas. I think 26.5 was the line yesterday.
It's now up to 32. It's up to 32.
Okay, so if I was a betting man, I would bet my money on Carolina to cover. However, I don't see how they can beat Georgia. I just don't see it. Georgia is very good on both sides of the ball. Now, they haven't been really tested yet. They've started out slow, last game, whatever. But I think they just come out fired up. And, I definitely think they cover. I can't believe it actually jumped up to 32. Holy smoke.
Yeah.
Tar Heels or Wolfpack? Play the Tar Heels or Wolfpack?
South Carolina Gamecocks.
South Carolina Gamecocks versus Georgia. Yeah. It's up to 32.
That's crazy. I actually wrote down notes, which like Monday maybe, or maybe yesterday, and it was 26.5. Or 20. It was actually 20. It was 27.5.
I'm sorry. You're right. It's 27.5. I was looking at the Alabama. They're up by 32.
I'm sorry.
It's 27.5. Oh, you're right. It's 27.5.
Holy smoke! It went up, but anyway,
that's still a hell of a cover in the SEC.
Yeah,
27.5 points is a cover.
Yeah.
Alabama's favored by Southern Florida by 32, which to me that seems like a big one.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't see South Carolina beating them. It's there. It's at Georgia. I see them covering, but I don't see them beating them.
We got Colorado and Colorado State, Ron. It's 10 o'clock East Coast time. I don't know if you're going to be home for that or not, but that's an old rivalry out there, buddy.
I'll be home.
Good for you, man. So you're going to watch that, or you going to watch something else?
No, I'll be watching that.
I'm looking to see. Of course, there's a Notre Dame. Notre Dame's rolling right now, guys. Like, nobody's talking about Notre Dame, but they're slowly just kicking the hell out of whoever gets in front of them. It's been impressive to me, and I know people hate Notre Dame because they're on NBC every weekend, but they're rolling. And are they back? Are they back?
I watched a little bit of the North Carolina State Notre Dame game, and their quarterback Hartman looks pretty good. He looks
damn good. He looks damn good.
He's a transfer portal person too.
Yes, he is. Got a couple more here to talk about. LSU and Mississippi State SEC showdown. Mississippi State's quietly undefeated, and they're rolling on that defense. So I'm looking forward to watching that. They got an early kickoff. Got to keep the Mississippi State LSU fans a little bit sober for this one. Might get a little rowdy down there. Rod, who you liking that? Or Ricky, who you liking that one? Have you been watching a whole lot of Mississippi State?
No, I don't really know much about them. Who's actually favored? Is it LSU favored in that game?
LSU only by 9.5, though. Not a big spread considered, LSU's highly rated.
See, that line tells me LSU wins.
They should win. I agree.
They should win.
I would agree.
That line tells me if that line tells me if you're going to bet that game, bet LSU to cover the points.
The other two big matchups I was noticing, Washington goes to Michigan State, right? Line 16, though. What does Vegas know that we don't? Vegas is clearly all in on Washington. When you're a 16-point rivalry road favorite, I mean, this is a precursor to the Big Ten next year.
Well, I think it's two things. I think one, you're going against a really good quarterback, Penix, who I really like a lot. And two,
I know.
And two, you have all that controversy going on now with Michigan State and the coach.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Everything else. So I'm not going to touch on that because but
I wasn't there.
Yeah, but I could see why Vegas has them favored by 16.
And the last big one I'm going to touch on that I can see, all rivalry game, Florida, Tennessee, boys.
Yeah, I love the home dog.
What's the spread on that one?
I think it's only 9. I just saw, I believe.
If not, I think it might have gone up. It was 6.5.
Was it?
Florida was getting 6.5.
Let me go back and look. Now he's got my curiosity. It's not a lot. It's not as lot as what I thought it should have been. Because you're talking about a team that's highly rated, which tells me that Vegas is looking at that quarterback situation and thinking the same thing I am. They're not big on it. I mean, that's just the truth. They're clearly not high on that daggone quarterback. And I've said it. He can throw it a country mile, but he's not. I don't see him progressive when he's doing his reads. And they got speed all over that team. Oh, and by the way, the NIL kid that's on the bench right now, I think he's getting $7 million.
What?
I read that somewhere earlier this week. He's getting $7 million. And, yep, it's 6.5 now. 6.5 spread. If you're getting $7 million, man, and the other guy's not performing, I don't know how much longer you can do that. Like, how long can you go?
$7 million. Holy sugar.
Hey, it's changed, man. Football's changed. The whole landscape's changed.
The whole landscape has changed. And I tell you, though, just kind of backing up a bit, that's fine. This whole Deion Sanders thing, I don't want to talk about him again, but he's like just how the whole landscape of college has totally changed. He's come in at the right time, and I think he's going to turn everything sideways, just with the recruiting and kids going to him, and just with this like transfer portals and the NIL deals. I mean, who are bigger? If you're a kid, if you're a 4-star recruit or 5-star recruit, and your head coach is Deion Sanders, he could put you in a spotlight. So
that, and these kids want to play now. They don't want to ride the pine. They want to have an opportunity to play.
Yeah.
And I get it.
Me and your texting back and forth about it. I think that this was changing the landscape of college football, because you have these second stringers that can ball out but are playing behind somebody, so now they can go to another team. Then Texas had somebody on their offense.
Yeah.
Receiver from Georgia last year or something like that.
Yeah, Texas got the wide receiver from Georgia to transfer portal. Yep, he's one of them. And he would have probably been a starter this year, but he didn't get the time he wanted last year. He said, "I'm out of here. I got to go somewhere else." And I get.
I don't blame him. Yeah,
I don't either.
No.
I mean, hell, coaches leave, coordinators leave. If you feel like you get a better chance, go, young man. Go get a little bit of money while you're at it. Because if there's one thing I can't stand the NCAA body itself. I think it's a joke. I wish the big conferences would break away and tell them to pound sand. I wish the SEC, the ACC, I wish the Big Ten, and I wish the Big 12 would tell the NCAA, piss off, we're going to work this out ourselves. We don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
I feel the exact same way. So I feel the exact same way about it.
And just so anybody watching, look, I watch college football. I don't follow it like a psycho fan. I just watch what I watch, and I enjoy the games for what they are. I couldn't tell you the last 3 recruits that Georgia got or that Tennessee got. I just know what I see on the field right now. When I see on the field right now, Alabama's young, Tennessee's learning, USC might have something they can figure out that defense, and Sanders is building something.
Yeah.
NFL's next, and wow.
Oh boy. Put your seatbelt on for this.
Dude, there were some ugly, ugly games this weekend. Did you guys notice that? Just no teams stuck in neutral. They couldn't get going.
It was almost like the second or third preseason game where the first time the starters got onto the field.
Yeah.
It was brutal to watch. Now, to go ahead and caveat that, though, I got the Sunday ticket on YouTube. YouTube, great job. You have outdone yourself. Thank God DirecTV no longer has this damn thing. They were ruining it for me as a fan. All the technical difficulties, great job. Having said that, I wish they would let me pick the 4 games I want to watch on Sundays, and I wish they would let me do it for both time slots at 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock. They don't let you do it now. Okay, I'm going to have to deal with that as a fan. We'll figure it out somewhere. I know I had my iPad up, had my phone going, and I had the TV with 4 games on. So I was watching everything I wanted to watch.
You can watch 4 games at one time?
Yep, it gets 4 games at one time. And the one thing they did on the new system is they used to have room for banners and ads and shit in the background. That's gone now. All 4 channels take up all inches of your screen.
That's
all
awesome.
4 games. It was
That's-
absolutely tremendous.
More
Well,
power
I
to
want
you.
to I want to give a plug to YouTube as well. We've had YouTube TV for the last 3 years, and I'll never go back to anything else other than YouTube TV. So thank you, YouTube.
Now I'm about ready to switch out of DirecTV. I'm piggybacking off my son's YouTube TV. And one thing, well, I don't know what we're plugging, but I noticed that the picture was a lot clearer.
They got a great picture. I mean,
Yeah.
Google knows what they're doing. Google knows what they're doing. First game on the slate, Detroit, Kansas City. I don't know what else to say other than Kansas City has got to get Kelsey back because I always knew Kelsey. He's a Hall of Famer. Everybody knows that. He's a special player. What I didn't realize is how much pressure. I knew he took pressure off the other receivers. That's obvious. I didn't know it was that much pressure. That entire wide receiving core played tight as a tick in that game. Dropping balls, pick sixes going through guys' hands. Cody looked just completely lost out there. And I'm not trying to bash the guy, but dude, you got to concentrate a little bit harder than that. This is why the Giants got rid of you. You were a little bit of a mental case out there from what I read. You're physical ambulance. You're never available. You didn't play in the preseason. This is what happens when you don't practice and you don't play in the preseason. You drop passes. You look bad. You don't run the right routes. Mahomes looked like he was running for his life at times. Like guys were just not running the right routes. I don't know what else to say about it. The Detroit took advantage of a team that wasn't ready to play football in every way. Oh, and by the way, refs, pay attention because that left tackle, what a bunch of bullshit. I'm sorry, the right tackle. Lining up so far back in the back of the head. Dude, are you kidding me, man?
But wait a minute. Don, isn't there somebody upstairs watching that saying, yo, the guy's lining up in the backfield? I mean, I couldn't believe it.
There should be somebody. And the thing that pissed me off was Chris Collinsworth saying, well, if you're the coach, you've got to say something. Why? So I get thrown out of the game? Like, what I can only say something once, like, hey, man, he's not lined up on side. What the hell are you doing? That right tackle was 3 yards deep. There was no way Hutchinson had any shot at getting a decent pass rush that entire game. It was so atrocious.
Now, we'll say that Rashid Rice looked pretty good. For the
He didn't
looked
look terrible, but he's a rookie, and he didn't look like he was going to set the world on fire this year. It's the first game, so we'll see.
And I think Dan Campbell busting out his brass balls doing the fake punt.
That man, call it. Talk about it.
The tone for the game.
You've got to have stones of steel and be completely confident in what you're doing as a coach. To say it's in our own 30-yard line, we're going for it on a fake punt. When he did it, first text I got from one of my buddy, brass balls, like you said. My man said, nah, we're here to win. We're not playing to not lose.
I'll tell you what, that reminded me so much of 2017 with the Eagles and Doug Peterson. That's how he was as a coach. He would do things like that. And even now with Sirianni, where they don't punt, they go for it on fourth down. But especially in 2017. Now, I'm not saying that it always works. However, that's what everyone said. Oh, Doug's got brass balls. Oh, my God, Doug's going for it again. Look at Doug. I'll tell you what. When things work, it gives your team so much confidence. And what the hell do you have to lose if you're Dan Campbell and the Lions, right? Go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Ricky, your boy Moore says, stop playing RBI baseball and play attention. So I moved on to watch the Cleveland-Cincinnati game. I don't know why I watched that game. That set football back 30 years. Joe Burrow was not ready. The line was not ready. The defense was not ready. The conditions were atrocious. Deshaun Watson didn't look great. Thank God for Nick Chubb. All he does is grind out 4.5 yards every carry, carries a guy on his back every carry, catches ridiculously bad passes every carry. Why does Nick Chubb not get talked enough for what he's done the last 3 or 4 years? He's been the top running back for 2 years at least now.
Because he's not a prima donna. He doesn't promote himself. He plays ball. He goes out and just plays ball.
I love the guy.
Yeah.
He's sort of like Barry Sanders. He scores a touchdown. He hands the ball. And he doesn't do all that other crazy crap. He's great. I'll tell you what, though. Even though it was game one and Watson was probably rusty, I noticed he had a hard time throwing the ball down the field over 50. He couldn't make that zip throw 20 yards out. Every ball fell short. And Joe Burrow, look, he had a bad game, obviously. He was 14 of 31 for 82 yards. 14 of 31. That is unbelievable. I give credit to the Browns defense because they were really getting to him. And I don't know if the Bengals line was banged up or they were missing reads or missing schemes and all, but 14 of 31 for 82 yards for one of the top 5 tier quarterbacks in the league. He wasn't the only one that had a bad day, but still 82 yards. Come on.
I was shocked at how bad that game was all around. It was fugly. It was one of the 4. It was one of the 4 I picked up on and said, I'm going to have this as one of the 4 I watch. And by the third quarter, I said, I can't watch this shit anymore. This is terrible. Let me go find an actual football game. So I looked over it. I gave Baltimore and Houston a quick check, see what I got. Moore says it takes all 11 men to tackle Chubb. He's a moose. I agree, buddy. 100%. I went to the Baltimore-Houston game. It was what I expected. Lamar Jackson looked rusty. The offense was sort of there. Houston's still trying to figure it out. They're a young team. I don't know if you guys want to get into that too deep. What did you guys got any insight on that? Because it looked like a higher tier team getting its shit together and a low tier team trying to figure it out.
Well, the only things I'll say about that game, I didn't watch it, but of course I was paying attention. One, because I got Lamar as my quarterback in fantasy. So that killed me. And he didn't have his starting tight end Andrews, which is like his security blanket.
It is.
So I don't know if Andrews is back this week. I think he is. I'm not 100% sure on that. But again, just touching on what you just said, whether it was Lamar, whether it was Burrow, whether it was even Jalen Hurts, a lot of top tier quarterbacks and teams had very rusty weeks. They just looked rusty. I mean, there were some quarterbacks that had great weeks, Tua, Purdy and San Fran, a couple others. But for the most part, a lot of the top tier quarterbacks had very rusty weeks. So hopefully that's not something that we see happening for the weeks going ahead.
But I think the same thing happened last year. The first 1 or 2 games, there were some teams that just were flat. Because I don't know if it's because they don't play their starters in their preseason or what the deal is, but they just come out flat.
Ron, I think that's exactly it. And listen, I'm not saying that the starters should play all 4 preseason games or 3 or 2, whatever. But when you're not you can't simulate game action in a real game against another team. You just can't. I don't know how they can do it in the preseason. I don't know, play your starters a half or whatever. But it's definitely something that I've noticed in the last couple of years. And that's why, to me, it takes like 1 or 2 games until you see offenses going, whether it's the Eagles or the Bengals or whoever.
The big thing to take out of that game is J.K. Dobbins is gone again for the season. I feel bad for that kid.
Absolutely.
I just don't know that the NFL is going to be a career he's going to be able to have. It's a different level. He looks like he's beat up. He blew out his leg again. I don't know how many times you come back from that. How many times can you go back into rehab? Like you won't touch the field again, young man, until July, August. Like maybe it's time to look at, using your education, starting a business with some of the money you've made. Just my opinion.
Yeah.
I wish him the best of luck in whatever he does, but
I
don't know. I don't know that I'd come back if I was that
Did
kid.
he blow out his Achilles on the same leg he did?
I don't know if it was the same leg, but I knew his Achilles blew out. Either way, man, the Achilles took a beating this weekend. That's all I know.
Well, speaking of Achilles, how about we
can get into it? Yeah. Golly Moses, man. So this was part of my parlay action this weekend. I took the Jets. I took a lot of shit for taking the Jets, by the way. Getting 2.5 points, I got a lot of shit. People told me I was an idiot, said I was insane, just telling me I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Who won, by the way? Who won that game?
Yes, they did.
Did the Jets win it with a backup quarterback?
Yeah.
Yep.
That defense is real, boys. That defense is real.
Yes, they are.
I knew it was going to be serious this year. I knew it was going to be lethal. Aaron Rodgers going out on what, the 3rd offensive play?
Fourth
Offensive play. Okay. My God. Big Lou says he took the Jets too. Good for you. I'm telling you, It's like you can write this shit if you're a Jets fan. What's the worst thing that can happen to me as a Jets fan? Aaron Rodgers gets hurt on the first series. That's going to happen. It's a black cloud over this franchise. I have never seen anything like it in my life. They can get all the way to the playoffs with Chad Pennington. They can't get Aaron Rodgers on the field for more than a quarter. Holy shit. Jets fans, I feel for you, man. I don't know what you do from here. I do know they're looking at quarterbacks. I think you got to ride with what you got.
I totally agree with that.
Go ahead, Ricky.
I think you got to ride with Zach Wilson. Give the kid a chance. He's never had this kind of team around him. And I think something like this can actually galvanize a team. Listen, people are saying you got to get another quarterback. You got to bring this guy in. Look, I say you give the guy a chance. Give him a couple games, 3, 4 games, whatever. Let's just see how the kid does.
Okay, I think this is what I think. I think if he lets the game come to him with the backfield they have with Cook and on Hall.
Exactly.
Lord,
exactly.
Amazing. You kidding
Ron,
me?
you're exactly right. All he has to do, and I'm saying all he has to do as I'm sitting here, is don't lose the games for him. Don't lose the games, right?
Be Trent Dilfer.
Exactly.
Trent Dilfer with that defense and that running back and the wide receivers. I saw an interesting thing on Pat McAfee. He had on A.Q. Shipley. He's a former offensive lineman for a bunch of teams. And I guess he reached out to offensive linemen about the O-line coach for the Jets. And the O-line coach, because they do the 3-step drop, wants the tackles and the guards do like these cut blocks.
Yeah, that was one of the things that came out of that was Aaron Rodgers is not a fan of the cut block. Because if that guy's not open immediately on that cut block, you're in deep trouble as a quarterback because that guy's on you in 2 steps.
Yeah, and I guess this O-line coach is so bullheaded. He wouldn't listen to Rodgers. He wouldn't listen to anybody because that's what he wants it done. And look what happened.
And now they're looking up, praying for a miracle, I guess. On to Tampa Bay.
Make the playoffs. I still think they can make
I'm off that. I'm off my Super Bowl pick. I'm out. Nope. The Jets are gone. I got no faith now. Hell no. I'm off that bandwagon. The defense is great, but unless I see something out of that kid at quarterback that I didn't see last year, no, man, and that offensive line. Because if you watch the Hard Knock series when they were talking, they showed the interaction with Rodgers and Wilson. He was telling them, with your athletic ability, if that second read isn't there, you need to be taken off. You need to be running immediately. Don't get to your third look. If the third look flashes in front of you, fine. You need to be gone. You're fast, you're agile, get out of bounds.
Don's hopping off the Jets train. That's awful
gone.
Quick. I'm
gone.
Not. I am not hopping off.
I'm on.
Gone. I'm getting
so am I.
Look,
I'm staying on too.
Hell no. I'm getting in the ocean with the Dolphins. That's my new bandwagon Super Bowl now. The Jets are gone. On to the next team. I'm out. On to Tampa Bay and Minnesota. Baker Mayfield did nothing special in that game, but he played his heart out, and he was gutsy, and he didn't want to make a terrible play. They could not run the ball to save their life against Minnesota. On the other hand, Minnesota couldn't run the ball to save their life either. There was just Kirk Cousins was dropping back, and if he wasn't getting nailed in the face, he was throwing dimes. It was one or the other. That was a game where it was tough to watch, man, because you just felt for both those quarterbacks. They were both taking a beating in that game. Give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers credit, man. Everybody said they were taken. Chris Evans would be gone or Mike Evans would be traded. Here they are, hanging tough, winning the game, in the clutch. Tip your hat.
I saw something today about Michelle White was doing an interview. I guess Baker Mayfield came in at halftime and told the team, listen to me. We got this. I know all their signals. I know what they're going to be doing. So he went down the progression. When this guy does this, that's what they're going to do. When this guy does this, that's what they're going to do. When this guy does this, that's what they're going to do. He's a smart quarterback. I think I was surprised.
Everybody was surprised. If you picked Tampa Bay this weekend, tip my cap. I couldn't take it. I couldn't risk that. I just couldn't see that. Maybe it's me. I thought Minnesota would be a little bit better on defense. I'll tell you what, Minnesota was a lot better on defense.
Well,
go ahead, Ron. Go ahead, Ricky. I know you want to get in there.
Well, I'll tell you what, they're going to have to be better on defense on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay, okay, they're going to have to be a lot better on Thursday night. So I think the Eagles' offense is going to pick it up a bit. So
I wonder why that is. Mr. Harris, I hope your Bengals bounce back too, because I got Jamar Chase on my fantasy team, but he killed me this weekend. Watch the New Orleans. I did watch the entirety of the New Orleans Tennessee game. Do you realize Derek Carr had the quietest 300 yards of anybody this weekend? The quietest 300 yards.
I didn't even know he passed for 300 yards.
Nobody did, because he was throwing so many damn ducks out there. I thought he was in a skeet shooting contest and just waffle balling shit wherever he could. Oof. That was bad. And it was the deep balls that were bad. He couldn't hit anybody, man. Just, I don't know. As bad as he looked, my man Ryan Tannehill looked even worse. Look, I'm not saying that it might be over, but it didn't look good. Like you can't throw 3 picks, complete on less than 50% of your passes. And you saw Tannehill last year regressing. You saw what was going on. I don't know, Ricky. What do you think, man? Is he done?
He's in that bottom tier 3 of quarterbacks. So from like 18 on, if Tennessee wants to do anything, I mean, they're kind of wasting the years away with Henry. But to me, Tannehill is just that bottom tier guy, that bottom tier quarterback. Nothing special, nothing great. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much longer they could take him. I don't know who's waiting in the wings, but
they got Willis from Liberty last year.
Yeah,
and then they drafted the kid from Kentucky this year in the second round.
Yeah.
So they got 2 guys that they're not Willis came from Liberty, so he's not a high pick, but they say he's progressed. So I don't know, man.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tannehill ends up on the bench, prior to the season being over.
Ron, did you see anything about the Saints game?
I'm trying to figure out how Spears can have more touches than Henry.
He didn't. Well, he had catches. So Derrick Henry had 15 carries. Spears only had 3 carries. And Spears only had 1 catch. So I don't know where that came from, but
maybe it's offensive. I saw something that he had more offensive snaps or something like that.
That he might have had. I don't remember. I just know Henry carried it 15 times. It was a typical Henry game, 15 for 63. He was balling in there. He was trying to get it going. It didn't look, when your quarterback can't throw, man, they were stacking that box. They were getting after it, son. They were getting after Tannehill. Tannehill looks the part of what he is. He's been in the league a long time. He's in his early to mid 30s now. You saw the decline last year. I just don't know that he's got it anymore. I'll tell you what else I noticed about this game. The Saints got to get their running back as fast as possible. They need him back quickly, because as a team, they carried it 27 for 69. And it just ain't the same without Alvin Kamara.
I think Andre Miller comes back this week, so they'll have a little bit more speed and pass catching ability.
I watched the Atlanta-Carolina game just out of curiosity. I don't know if you guys want to get way deep in the weeds on this, but it went like I thought. Carolina's got a rookie quarterback. He's learning how to play football. He's never done it at this level. He looks small. I'm not going to say, he didn't look like a smaller guy. He did look a little small to me out there. I also noticed, all the hype around Robinson, right? All the hype. You guys see the final stat score on that one?
Yeah.
I saw he had a touchdown, but I didn't see his
final. He did have a touchdown.
Yeah.
I'm trying to bring it up. Algiers had a ball game. People forget Algiers had 1,000 yards last year, man. Algiers had 15 carries for 75 and 2 touches. Robinson had 10 for 56. He also caught a couple of passes. He caught 6 for 27 and a touchdown. That's what their offense is. And Pitts even got involved a little bit. I was surprised. I was like, hey, you remember to throw the ball to Pitts? Great job. Way to go, guys. I think that's what you're going to see in that team. They're going to run it at you all year. That's what they're going to do. They're going to grind you down. They've got a good offensive line to run the ball. Robinson's going to get at the flat. I was impressed with what I saw. I was a little shocked that Carolina could not stop the run game. I thought Carolina's defense was a little bit better than that.
Yeah, I think they might have been missing some people.
I did watch the Jacksonville game. My wife, for some reason, she loves the Jacksonville quarterback. She loves Trevor Lawrence. I don't know why. She's like, I just like the way he plays. He seems to play well. He had a decent game. You know, ETN to me was the star of the game. He had that one big run to put it away late. What surprised me was Anthony Richardson was hitting his targets, man. And I know I've been critical of the kid because I didn't like what I saw in college. He looked throwing the ball like I was like, okay, maybe there's a little bit more accuracy there than I thought. Maybe it was some of his college receivers that weren't making the right routes. I don't know. Did you see it, Ricky?
I saw bits and pieces, but I'm really pulling for that kid. I really hope he does well. He's raw, but he's very raw. He has very good coaches out there who are going to help him, and I think that's important, especially for a young kid like that. Because if you take, I mean, you could take any young kid, any young quarterback, you put him on the wrong team with the wrong coaches, he looks terrible. You put a young kid who's raw on a team he could be coached up, and you get better results. So I'm really pulling it for him, and I really hope he does well.
I've got San Francisco, Pittsburgh here. Do we really need to get into that? San Francisco just beat the hell out of the boys.
I don't think we need to do a deep dive on that. I think San Fran is one of the elite coming out of the NFC. I mean, I've said it.
I got him in the Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I know a lot of my Eagles friends are actually watching and texting me. So I'm not going to say I have them in the Super Bowl yet, but they're one of the top 3 teams. There's no doubt.
Well,
they're awesome. Yeah. So,
what were they saying to you? Are you seeing this shit?
Well, so I think San Fran's going to be in the Super Bowl also. So that means that my Eagles are not going to be in the Super Bowl.
I mean, it's hard to get back there. We talked about it. Washington, Arizona. Ron, tell me you saw this, or at least saw some of it. Tell me you saw some of it.
It was just. Yeah, I saw some of it, and then I turned away because I couldn't handle it. I just didn't. I couldn't figure it out. What was going on with Washington at all?
Big Lou saying Ricky's making great points. Here's the thing, man. And what did I say was my concern with Washington before the season started? You guys remember?
Yep, the offensive line.
Yeah. 6 sacks. That kid was sacked 6 times by Arizona. And I looked at the stats of these guys. Some of these guys' career highs, one of them, the guy that had 2 sacks, his career high was 7. He's already got a third of his career high in one game. That left side was a swinging saloon door.
And what has been the Achilles heel of Washington other than Daniel Snyder for the last 15 years? Quarterback and offensive line. Yeah.
See, I don't even know if they have a bad quarterback. Because every time that kid dropped back, he had to take the hell off and run for his life. He had 2 seconds in the pocket and had to take off.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah. Then my Broncos played the Raiders, and I just want to beat the Raiders one time again, man. It's getting damn ridiculous. We punted the ball twice, okay? Punted the ball twice, no turnovers. 16 points. How does that happen? How do you punt it twice and only get 16 points? I'm flabbergasted. I have no words for this. The Raiders can go to hell. I hate that team. Piss up a road.
Hey, at least it was a close game. It was 17-16. So there was like a moral victory, right?
No, there's no such things as moral victories. You play to win the game. That's all there is to it.
And Garoppolo threw interception in the end zone.
Yeah, that's the thing. Jimmy G did some Jimmy G shit. We still couldn't win the ball game.
I can't stand that guy. He's my least favorite player in the NFL.
He's pretty, though. He sure is pretty.
Well, he likes some porn stars.
He certainly is. He has nice hairs. He certainly does.
Miami and the Chargers, to me, game of the weekend. That was the game of the weekend.
Yeah.
That was football, baby. They were throwing that thing. They were running that thing. And then the play of the game, the play that ends the game is a sack. You're going to tell me you put 70 points on the board and it ends on a sack? What? Great. Great. Big Lou, you can go to hell with your pepperoni pizza. I will get you your pizza, you bastard. But, yeah, I watched that game. Miami looked good. They kept Tua upright. That was the biggest thing I was looking for.
Which is
I'll tell you
surprising
what.
because they're missing a left tackle. Armstead was
Yeah.
out.
Go ahead, Rick. I know you want to say something.
Oh, no, I was just going to say both of those teams can score offensively. And Miami, like you just made a point, if you could keep Tua upright, their offense can compete with any offense in the NFL. You got Waddle, Hill, you got Mostert. You have Tua. I mean, they're very good. I mean, they could score 30 points easily.
And don't forget, they got Jalen Ramsey coming back soon. Week 5,
Yeah.
he'll be back.
I forgot
Really?
about him.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey's back at week 5. It's going to give that defense a new look. Because once you
that's
have a
true, and I
lockdown
thought,
corner,
yeah.
I mean, now you got a problem.
Well, listen, key with that team. I mean, I'm stating the obvious, but key with that team is keeping Tua healthy. If you can keep him on the field, that team is going to be there, I think. I mean, they're very, very good, and they're well coached.
And that last touchdown pass to
Oh, my
Hill.
God.
I was
Dropped it in
are
the
you
bucket.
kidding me?
It was a teardrop of a pass, just
Yeah.
right. I mean, beautiful.
You can't stop that. And what was great about that was that put me over 50 points for Tyreek Hill in fantasy football because
Yeah.
I have him. So
But-
thank you, Tyreek.
If you had Tyreek Hill in your fantasy team and you lost, you suck. There's no reason you should have lost.
I did.
How the hell did that happen?
Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, that's right. Oh, you
yeah.
got that curse.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Okay. That's the exception to the rule. If you had Aaron Rodgers and Tyreek Hill, it was the best of both worlds and the worst of both worlds.
Yeah.
On to your Eagles. Hey, man, do you want to tell your boys there's 4 quarters at a football game, or should I do it?
I was hoping you didn't bring this game up. You know, look, again, there's I don't know what kind of offense they were running. There was a lot of design plays for Jalen to run, and all the talk prior to the game was, oh, we have other running backs. He's not going to be, getting himself beat up. He was taking a lot of hits. He was going down to where he could hurt his knee. They got lucky, and I'm going to be honest. I think they're the better team in New England, but I give New England a lot of credit for coming out in the second half. I thought their quarterback did a great job finding his open receivers. I think he had like 330 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. The Eagles got lucky. I'm glad that the Eagles won, but the Eagles got lucky.
But
Yeah, I was looking at that. Go ahead, Ron.
But I think everybody. I think Eagles were favored, but a lot of people were saying you just can't discount. Discount Belichick and what he can do. He had all that time to game
Absolutely
plan.
not.
Yeah. So they'll rebound.
So I always put it on the quarterbacks, not all the time, but when you're a top tier quarterback like Hurts or Burrow or whoever, Jalen Hurts only had 170 yards passing. He had 1 touchdown and he had 1 fumble. That's just not going to cut it. Now, again, the Eagles won. It's week 1. Let's move on. They have a short week. You can't only pass for 170 yards, 1 touchdown, and have a fumble. It just wasn't a good game. They need to do better with their offensive scheme. They got to stop letting him run, and I don't. Hopefully they have a better game plan for Thursday.
And
Well, the running game didn't help you.
No. Well,
Okay.
and kind of piggybacking off of that, they're going to lose Gainwell for the game Thursday night.
Yep.
So now I'm hoping, we lost Gainwell. So they're going to activate Penny. And I think DeAndre Swift is going to be a bigger part of the offense. So, but losing Gainwell is going to hurt them.
Ron, I know you got something to say. You were trying to get there. Go ahead, man.
No, he said it. I was talking about
Okay.
game would being out. Yeah.
Yeah, Mac Jones, by the way, threw for 316 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 pick. I mean,
Yeah.
he had a game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I didn't see it early, but did DeAndre Swift get hurt?
No.
1 carry, 3 yards. Something's wrong. Something's wrong.
And the coach came out and said today that there's going to be games where he's going to carry a load. There's going to be games like this last game. And that's just, come on, man.
You got to use. You traded for this weapon. You need to use him. You got to use your weapon, man.
He was supposed to be their key third down back, and like you said, he had 1 carry for 3 yards. I don't know if he had any passing attempts to him. I forget, but
I didn't get it.
Yeah,
I just didn't get it.
You know, the whole thing was kind of wonky. Without going into every single play, I mean, I watched the whole game, but they're just.
Oh, I know you did.
Yeah, well, their offense was just out of sync. It was just out of sync. I think going forward again, and this doesn't only go for the Eagles. This goes for a lot of the teams, whether it's the Bengals, the Eagles, Kansas City, all these top offenses. It takes 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks to sort of get your offense going, get everybody on the same plan. All right, who's going to be my key guys? That's just how the NFL is now, because you lose those preseason games.
Big Lou wants to know if you got a good water boy, because 1 carry for 3 yards, a water boy could have done that shit.
Listen,
I mean,
you're
something's got to change.
You're freaking preaching to the choir. I think you'll see him involved Thursday because he gained well out. I think he'll be getting more touches. So,
by the way, this was my last bet for the weekend. I had the Eagles to cover 4. They covered 4. So they covered.
There you go.
Green Bay. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm done. Go ahead.
Green Bay beat the hell out of Chicago. It wasn't close. It was a bloodbath. Yeah. I've got nothing else to say about that game. I'm still not sold on Justin Fields as a quality starter in the NFL. I think he's a good fantasy guy. I'm not seeing him make the reads in the NFL and firing it in there before the receivers open. I'm not seeing it. I didn't see it this game. I don't know if there's a whole lot to cover on that.
Jordan Love looked good, and Green Bay's defense looked good too.
Yeah, I mean that covers the whole game.
Yeah.
This is going to be my. I know we're going to get to Dallas in a minute, and we'll get into that. Right, we'll get to that. This was my surprise of the weekend. This was my. I'm sorry. What? The Rams kicked the teetotal shit out of the Sea Chickens, and didn't just do it. They walked the dog on their ass, and they didn't have like a big damn running game. The running game was almost non-existent. They carried the thing 40 times for 92 yards. That's not a good stat line. And Cam Akers, man, he's going to lose that job to Kyron Williams. I'm just convinced of it. That dude does not look the same since he hurt his knee. I feel bad for the kid. I'm not saying he's not running hard. He just doesn't look like he's got that same quick step in his game. That's just me. The Rams, your boy dropped 334 yards and didn't throw a single touchdown. Didn't throw a single touchdown, and they beat him 30-13. Ron, how the hell did this happen?
Coaching, good coaching. Now, I think the Kyron Williams Akers, that's to be determined on the hot hand kind of thing. Kyron Williams is better at pass protection and catching, so that's why we saw more of him. I think the halftime adjustments that Raheem Morris made was unbelievable. They held him 12 yards in the second half, and 9 yards came on the last scramble of the game. They just manhandled them. They did what they're supposed to do, to the point where TK Metcalf did that crap thing against Witherspoon and pushed him down.
I saw it. I saw the cheap shot. It was cheap.
Yeah.
It wasn't a push. He cheap shot him.
Yeah, he did. I was telling everybody, you went off the preseason, how they looked and stuff. Not one sack. The offensive line held up. That's
I was wondering if you were going to say that. So their offensive line was very much chastised in the offseason. Wasn't a whole lot of faith in the offensive line. I was shocked at how well they stood up against those guys.
Yeah.
He had a clean pocket almost all day, not one sack. The part that got me, though, was the running game. They got to figure out that running game because I think they should have started riding the other kid more once we saw he was getting hot and gotten away from Akers. Other than that, I got mind blown.
I think with the Williams thing, because he's only 195, so I think they're worried about him breaking down. So, but we'll see how it goes this week. With the Niners and stuff. So,
might be a different outcome. Might be a little different this week.
It might be, yeah.
Last game to cover. We're going to do a real quick. One game you're excited about next week that's not yours. What the hell did hold on. Has anybody seen the Giants? Has anybody seen them? Because they were supposed to be on Sunday night and they didn't show up. I don't know what the hell that was. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was the most unprepared, flat football team I've ever seen in my life. You looked pathetic. It was terrible. You cannot tell me that's your best effort against one of your biggest rivals. Terrible effort. I was disgusted as a fan. Turned the game off at halftime. I said, I don't need to watch this shit anymore. I'm going to bed.
So Daniel Jones didn't have the worst stats of week 1. However, he was 15-28 for 104 yards, 2 picks.
Yeah.
And Dak Prescott, on the other hand, was 13-24 for 103 yards and no touchdowns. So either quarterback was terrible. It had nothing to do, the quarterbacks didn't help. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I give a lot of credit to the Dallas defense. I think Micah Parsons is, I don't know if this is the right way to say it. He's a poor man's version of Lawrence Taylor, but I don't mean that in a negative way at all.
Did you notice what they were doing in this game that they didn't do last year? He was coming up that A-gap again. He wasn't just coming off the edge. They finally said, hey, we got to send this guy in different formations. When he's coming up that A-gap, he's a nightmare. He's a nightmare to guard for these guards and centers.
And I'll tell you what, he could get off of blocks. He could do, he is really good. I mean, he is phenomenal. I really like Dallas's defense, but I'm not ready to crown Dallas yet. Dak Prescott is Dak
I'm not
Prescott.
saying that, but I'm just saying.
Listen, it was a big win. The Giants were terrible across the board. I'll put it to you this way. I don't think the Giants are that bad, and I certainly don't think Dallas is that good.
I'm going to disagree, and this is why. I think Dallas's defense, it might be that good. I think they quietly built something on that defense that nobody's been paying attention to. Okay. And now that you're moving your key piece around to cause havoc, instead of just saying, okay, sit on the defensive end and just rush every time. I think that's a problem. I think there's a problem now. Larry said the little Giants showed up Sunday night, not the actual Giants.
Yeah, I think them adding Gilmore to the secondary, that was huge because you have 2 lockdown corners that can cover people. So that gives the defense line more time to attack the quarterback.
So that covers up. That covers this week's past week. I know we're running along here on an hour, so let's get us out of here on this. Give me one game. Ron, give me one game you're watching that's not the Rams next week.
Oh, Cowboys and Jets.
Are you? Okay, you're on that.
Yeah.
What do you got, Ricky?
Because the defense.
Oh, go ahead. You think the defense is. That's why. You're the defense guy. You want to see a 9-6, 1976 football game.
I want to see who's for real.
Okay. All right. I can get with that. I feel you on that one. Go ahead. Give me something, Rick. Give me something that's not Philly related.
Well, okay. So I'm going to be paying attention to the Chiefs and the Jaguars. I think
that's son of a bitch, you took my pick.
I think that's going to be an interesting game. I think 2 teams who are I think the Jaguars are certainly trending up. So if you want to knock the champion off, if you want to beat and become the champion, you got to beat Ric Flair. So that's who the Chiefs are. And I think the Jaguars are that team that's up and coming.
I also, since you're going there, I'm going to say this much. The other game I'm going to have my eye on is Baltimore and Cincinnati. Cincinnati, can you come out and actually play a football game? Baltimore, are you going to look like a complete team now? Is that what we're going with? And I'll also tell you, my bet line this week, I took another parlay. I took the Chiefs, giving up 3.5. All right. I took Green Bay, giving up 1. And where was this other one at? Where the hell did you go? New Orleans, Carolina. I took New Orleans and I'm eating 3. I just feel like what I saw last week, I think Carr's got something. So those are my 3 lines. You guys got anything else before we get out of here today?
No, I think it was an awesome show.
Yeah, good job.
Well, if you guys like what you saw in here, please give us a like, give us a subscribe. We're just fans. I'm not going to pretend like I can break down film. I'm just going to tell you what I saw as a football fan. I appreciate your time, guys.
All right.